Hello friends, and welcome back to another nail art tutorial. Today's nail art tutorial is inspired by the 2019 revival of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Oklahoma. Before we jump right into the nail art, I always think it's a little bit fun to kind of talk about the show and where some of the inspiration for the design of the nail art comes from. So for today's nail art tutorial, since it's based on the revival of Oklahoma, it has to do a lot with the graphic design of the elements that you see used in marketing materials for the show. Now this show, for this particular revival, they've used a lot of black and white elements, and so you'll see that in today's nail art tutorial. This production is a little bit different than more traditional productions of Oklahoma, which I think is kind of cool because it really allows a modern audience to kind of appreciate the piece of work. So without further ado, let's get into the actual nail art tutorial. So as always, I have pre-prepped my nails with a clear base coat to prevent from staining, especially since we're going to be using black nail polish in this nail polish tutorial. And all I have done so far is I've just painted a black base on 3 of my nails, and I'm going to paint a white base on my other 2 remaining nails, which you will see. Now today's nail art tutorial is fairly simple and easy for someone who might be a beginner to doing nail art, which is pretty cool because I think you'll be able to achieve this kind of multi-dimensional or geographic looking nail art pretty easily, even if you've never done any kind of nail art tutorial like this in the past. So for this tutorial, you're going to need a latex makeup sponge. The one that I'm using is non-latex, and these I find are fine for doing the gradient. It's just that your sponge is not as porous, and so it won't give you as much of a kind of sponge effect on the nail as maybe a latex sponge would, but it still works and it still gets the job done. So what I've done here is I painted some nail polish onto my makeup sponge, and we're going to be going for kind of a diagonal shape across the nail, and so you can see that I kind of was figuring out how best to get that diagonal shape on my nail. I didn't place any tape down because I kind of wanted the sponginess of the shape to come across in the gradient. I wanted to kind of look like a gradient and have the smaller piece of the gradient coming across the center of my nail. So you'll see that I'm kind of just working in a diagonal across my nail here, and I did this kind of half and half. You can do it more or less if you would like to. So I'm going back in and doing a second coat on that gradient because when you do the sponge gradient, a lot of times the nail polish does not come out as dark or pigmented as it normally would be when you paint it, and so I typically will do 2 layers for a gradient like this. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing, except this time we're going to be doing it on the thumbnail. And what I'll be doing here is, instead of going diagonally across the nail, I'm going to be going straight across the nail, so it's going to give us kind of that effect a little bit that you see on either the title card or the playbill of Oklahoma, where it's kind of the horizon is kind of made with the black and white effect. Next we're going to be making some nail art, and we're going to need a palette and a dotting tool. And what I've done here is I've used my dotting tool to get some white, and I'm just going to trace out the shape of the exclamation point a little bit. And so it's going to make the exclamation point look like it's cut out a little bit. You can do the exclamation point in all black if you want to. I wanted to do it to make it look cut out, so I did white and black. And I'm just kind of tracing with my dotting tool where I want the exclamation point to be on my nail. And then I'm using polish to go back and fill in as I can before moving on to the black part of the shape. And now I'm going in with the dotting tool and filling in the black portion of the cutout on the exclamation point, and it's basically just making it look like a flip-flop of the gradient that was on the nail, where the black is going where the white is on the gradient and the white is going where the black is on the gradient, and then the dot of the exclamation point is going to be black on the bottom. And that's pretty much all that I have for today's nail art tutorial. It's very simple and very straightforward, but still plays into the geometric designs that are used in the Oklahoma Revival marketing materials, and I'm just going to seal all of that with a clear glossy base coat and seal in the design, especially with the gradient on my nail. And so it's very simple, very straightforward, and kind of fun just to pay a small homage to a show that's pretty cool and has been getting a lot of interesting reviews from. It's a very simple and straightforward nail art tutorial that I think kind of works with some of the elements of a show that's pretty cool and has a lot of people talking on Broadway, and I think that's pretty cool. Alright, that's all for this week's nail art tutorial, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!